Hebrew that anyone speaks today, I don't think is anywhere near the same thing of
Wi-Fi.
I don't have any. It's on. Anybody want to help? What? No, it's. I don't know what the problem is, to be honest.
It's not hot yet. That's.
Someone wants to fix it.
You're actually sitting next to me. He still likes you. He's young.
All right. Todd, got it? All right. Cool. Number three, boys. Let's get
There's a
started.
mechitza over here.
I'll come and sit right here.
Okay.
We are. This is not the controversial house. You two. Okay. So figure it out on your own time. Sukkah. In Masechet Sukkah, why? Where did we get the women's section from? Where did this all come about?
Yeah, that's not from the base.
It's not a ship for the Beit HaMikdash. Originally, the women were in front, and the men would go past through the women to go to where we're going in the Beit HaMikdash on the holidays.
I can't imagine anything bad happening like that.
Right. And then so apparently we kind of got into some trouble. A lot of winks happening, a lot of NG, whatever. So So what happened? So they made where the women would be in the back, and the women would be in the back, and then the men would be in the front, and it still didn't help. So they made bleachers for the women. They made bleachers for seats over seats, and the men would walk through and not, you had no interaction. And that's because we're, the work people of it, and that's why. As I got the women's section, time of Beit HaMikdash, very interesting. So let's go to Gimel. So we all know this famous thing that Moshe Rabbeinu tells Paro, like number three on Bo, Parashat Bo, Tav Resh Chaf, where Moshe tells Paro around Hatzot, right? Kahatzot alayla. Ko amar Hashem kahatzot alayla. Hashem said around the time of Hatzot. Right? And the Gemara Hatzot is midnight. Now, the day is split into how many? Into 4. Okay, you have 2 in the day, 2 in the night. Right? You have half of the first part of the day, half of the second part of the day. Then you have the first part of the night and second part of the night, and then so on and so forth. So the Gemara says, Moshe amar kahatzot. Right? Velo amar bahatzot. Why? Remember, why did he say kahatzot? Around the Hatzot time, around the midnight time, it didn't say midnight-ish, like Eli likes to put on our class, where you start 8:30-ish. Okay. Why? Hashem said on Hatzot. Moshe tells Paro around Hatzot. But he also says, so said God. Hashem said that. Why would he do that? So the Gemara explains, Kedesh shelo yiru istagne Paro ve'yomru Moshe badayu. In order that the astrologers will not come and say, oh, Moshe's a liar. It happened at 11:59, it happened at 12, or it happened 12:01, it did happen at 12 on the dot. Therefore, it's, he's a liar. That's the reason, according to the Gemara, one Moshe said one way and not the other. Okay, which is very clear, very, very what's going. But the real question is, by the way, again, Zera Shimshon loves to ask the very obvious question. Okay? Why are you going to tell me? Why are you going to tell me that all of a sudden they're not going to believe Moshe Rabbeinu? Where is this coming from? It's not like he's coming in from the first. It's not dumb. Okay, talking Makah Pechorot. He earned the stripes already. Okay, Makshim Alam Shemikol Makom Moshe Aya Lo Lomar Belashon Shema Lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the first questions that I asked, I was waiting for some fruits. I was hoping. I didn't know if you knew. Did you bring last week too? Oh, neither was I. Okay. So listen, no.
Week before you did.
So listen, so the first question Zera Shimshon asked is, why wouldn't Moshe say it in the way God said it? Boys, listen up. Come on. That Moshe should have said it in the same Lashon that Kadosh Baruch Hu said. Or don't say the words, Ko Amar Hashem. Don't say, so Hashem said. Pick your poison. You want to say it in your own words, then say it in your own words. All right? If you don't want to say it in your own words, and so fine, don't say it in your own words, but don't say that's what God not fair. That's not what God said. God said Bahatzot, at Hatzot, right? On midnight exact, and you decided to say during. Okay, around the time. Right? Right. So what it should say, Moshe kahatzot alayla. It should have said that Moshe said around midnight. And not only that, that after they saw that the Nebuah Moshe Rabbeinu is emet, and Moshe Rabbeinu's tefillah is emet. What do you mean by tefillah? Every time the Makkah came, how did it end? Right? It's Moshe went to go pray. That's how every one of these makot ended, right? Right, Tom? Right? Always says by the every makah, it only ended when Moshe prayed. So they already know that it comes when he says it comes, and it ends when he says it ends. Right? Lama ata. Why now? Yomru badayu. Why all of a sudden they can say, oh, he must be a liar? Makes no sense. You all got the questions? So two questions. Why? One, right, Sash, you're listening. The first question is if he says it, if he wants to say it in his own words, then say it in your own words, but don't say, so said God. Right? And if you want to say, and if you're going to say it in God's words, then say it in God's words. First question. Second question is why all of a sudden would the people assume that Moshe Rabbeinu now is a liar? They know that all the Makot came because he said that they were going to happen. And also, every Makkah ended by his tefillah. He would go outside of Mitzrayim, pray, and all of a sudden they would go. Like we learned this from Sfardeya.
Only one of them you didn't say when it was going to come, the locust.
No, when it was going to come, not when it was going to go. When it was going to end. When it was going to end, he said Mahad.
Oh, that's right.
No, Yeod. No, I know, but what's this? There's a seder. He warns them by the Yeod, he warns them by the palace, and then no warning. If you look at each one of the set of 3 makot, that's what it is. Yeod, the palace, no warning. That's the Pesukim, black and white. So now,
Wait, how does Moshe know how to get out of Mitzrayim?
ways, directions.
There was a phone down there.
No, but that's why phones make you stupid. Before, Daddy would know everyone's phone number by heart. Now I don't even know Mommy's number by heart. Hey, man, I'm serious. I
And
don't.
recently there was people following the Google Maps and they ended up driving downstairs because they believe in it so much they
Right.
followed it all the
They
way.
just, I drove through Bethlehem because Bethlehem and the New Jersey Turnpike. 2 times I had me admit. So whenever I'm on the turnpike, I say both. And whenever I cross over to go to 60, I say both. It's true. I remember because Waze told me you make a right. I made a sharp right. I didn't make the next right like you're supposed to. So I go and I see a giant banner in Arabic. I don't know what it says. I'm like, okay, driving. And all of a sudden I go, oh, I ain't in Kansas anymore. This don't look right. And I drive, and I say, okay, let me just follow Waze. Now Waze is going straight because it thinks I'm on 60 because it goes parallel. Right. So I'm going, and I'm going over the speed bump. They mean nothing. I'm just driving through. Yeah, I feel them staring at me on the back of my neck. I'm wearing my kippah, same kippah, and it's a disaster. Now I get to, where do I get to? There's a dead end, which means I have to go all the way back. So I had to make a Yui, and I zoomed. I said, this don't look right. But I said, because that could have gone south real fast. So thank God. So again.
Why is there a dead end if you want to bet that?
Why is there a part that says do not cross, and it was just desert, so I had to turn around. There was no in the old days. You wouldn't rely on these things. You rely on the signs you see around you, right? You would count. It takes me 5 minutes to get to this place. You used your head. Technology is awesome, but only if you use it in the right way. If you use it to let you run your life, it's very dangerous. All right, let's get to you. Sorry, you get.
You can't just look at the screen.
Right, exactly. So again, we got our 2 questions. Good. First one is what that if Moshe wants to use his own words, then don't say God said so. And the second one is we already know that Moshe Rabbeinu is an Avi and everything starts and ends with him with all the Makot. So why would now, through a technicality that they might think, all of a sudden not only say doubt him, but say liar. Badai means like a liar. Okay. Third question. Might not come for these guys, right? It's tagninim ben rega lerega. What does it matter? It's a minute. It's not the Olympics. It doesn't matter what the time is. Whether it's going to be exactly at that moment or not. As long as it came on the same night. What do you want to say? He says 12:05. Moshi. I miss you guys. Early, by the way. I said I missed you. It's 3 weeks I didn't see you. So I was hoping it's okay. It's fine. I can see you now. Okay. So again, what's the question? We're asking. What does it make sense? What's we know Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Ka hatzot halayla." When's Makah Bechorot going to happen? Around. And the Gemara Berachot Daled Amud Aleph says that why did he say around midnight? God said at midnight, so that the sorcerers, right, or the astrologers won't have something to say and call Moshe a liar. Okay. So 2 questions we ask. One is let Moshe say things in his own words if he wants. We're on Gimel. Okay, Bo Gimel. And the second question we asked is after that they already saw that Moshe with all his tefillot and all everything, they already knows how great he is. What on a technicality, why would they start assuming that the guy's a liar? That's the second. Why are we being so makpid? Well, that's another problem. You can't do that either. And also, why we care about rega lerega, right? That they were so makpid that if it doesn't happen on that exact time or not. Meaning, as long as it comes on the same night. By the way, if the astrologer, whoever says it's going to rain at 8:00 tomorrow and it rains at 9, you're not going to call the guy a liar. He called it, whatever. It's going to rain. It rained. It rained. Snowstorm. Snowstorm. What's the difference? Why are you being so careful? Fourth question. Right? Israel atzmam. Okay, so now here comes the fourth question that's brought down in the Zohar, which is crazy. This issue of Bahatzot Laila is this. Oh, check the thing upstairs. Yeah, sorry. on the Hatzot Laila, Bnei Israel, we're gonna challenge Moshe also 3 different questions. The fact that Moshe said like Hatzot and not on Hatzot, the Zohar in Parashat Bo explains that there's 3 questions that they were gonna ask on Moshe.
Did they?
That I don't know. He says so. He asked these 3 questions, and then he says that. Then the Zohar says. So he asked what's the answer? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says he goes. There's major secrets that only the tzaddikim that are able to thresh the field of God knows the answers to. Meaning the sodot of the Torah that they're able to get to, right? Because they're able to work in this field. Like it's a symbol. You know, it's what's the word? What's the word? Like it's a metaphor, right? The ones that know such heavy sodot, those are the ones that are able to know. Okay, that's what he's saying. So, but it goes on to a whole tangent on Bnei Yisrael having a ta'ana on Moshe also. Why is not exact and all these things? Okay, so you see that even Bnei Yisrael would have a problem with Moshe. So remember, these are our questions. Okay, by the way, it's a great question. No, what's the big deal? Hatzot Laila or not? Who cares? Whatever. Every house had a death. Every house had someone dead. Does it really matter? Like, we're really going to split hairs? I mean, it's crazy. We know. So now we're going to get into the planets. You know, we have mazalot. Mazalot are real. We are above them. We don't have that issue, but they do exist. Okay? Now, what do we have? The first half of the night, which Makab Bechorot happens. What do you have? You have two constellations. You have Jupiter and you have Mars. You have 2 planets, but it's not constellation around the planets. No, it's a whole situation. Each situation, fine. You got 2 situations. We'll talk Syrian. 2 situations at night. Okay. One, you have Kochav Sedek, which is Jupiter, which is the 6th hour of the night. Is it good? Ish, we got to cut it. There's meat in there. It's like a deli roll. Oh, you did already? You're the man, the best. All right, which is the 6th night, which is the last hour, of the first half of the night. Again, let's make it easy. Shaot Zmaniot. Remember learning Berachot? Shaot Zmaniot. You have 6 hours. Let's say that you have 6 to 6. I was waiting for you. 6 to 12 and 12 to 6. 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. And then you have 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. You got it? 6 p.m., right, which is dinner time. So you have dinner time until midnight, and then you have midnight to breakfast, 6 a.m. Okay, that's your 2 splits of the night. The first one is Jupiter. Jupiter is what's the word? What's the right way? He has influence. Jupiter has influence on the 6th hour, which is 11 o'clock, 11 p.m. Okay, which is the last hour of the first part of the night. Remember, we said the first part of the night is what? 6 to 12. Dinner time to midnight. So that's Jupiter's time. Okay? Now Jupiter ends the last hour of that thing. So it's 11 to 12. Right? And the next one comes in is what? Is Mars. Right? Ma'dim. B'sha'ah in the 7th hour. Which is the first hour of the 2nd half. So that would be what? From 12 to 1? Yeah. 12 to 1. So you have 11 to 12, and then you have 12 to 1, right? I want to be clear. You have the plan, you have the situations, right, Yaakov? You have the situations in Shammai, right? In the what's it called? In space, right? And what are they? And you have the Jupiter handling the first half of the night, and Mars handling the 2nd half of the night. Not to make it easier. Now, there's changing of the guards, right? As one goes out, the next one comes in. So you have Jupiter comes in from 6 p.m. and leaves at 12 a.m. And then you have the other guy, Mars, coming in at 12 a.m. until 6. Okay. Now Mars. Now again, so Jupiter's the last hour, the first half. So 11 to 12 a.m., 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. is Jupiter. It's not the whole 6, it's just the 1 hour. That's crazy. I want to say, don't cheat. I want to make sure everyone understands this. Okay? And the second one, wait, you closing like you got it, you're good, you're leaving.
Oh, just say like
Yeah. And the second and the 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. is Mars. Okay? Shehare, by the way, who says it? The Rashi says this in Berachot. All right, Shehare Israel. Yeah, by the way, when did we leave Mitzrayim? Thursday. You should know we left Mitzrayim on a Thursday. When did we get Torah? Shabbat. Very good. Okay, so we left what?
50 days later.
50 days later. So Mitzrayim, we left Mitzrayim on a Thursday.
So the Makat Makat was Wednesday night after Chatzot.
Must be. There you go. Very good. Like it says in Masechet Shabbat, Perek Rabbi Akiva, right? In the Mefashim also right. Listen. Ve'im hayta Makat Bechorot rega kodim hatzi halayla. Now, if Makat Bechorot comes 1 second before the end of the first half of the night, which is what? Which is the end of Sedek, which is Jupiter. Lo haya kol kach netz. It's not going to be such a great miracle if Bnei Yisrael is saved, right? Rak ikar hanetz. What's the main part of the netz, the miracle? That the Mitzrayim all had a death in their house. Everybody died because it made sense. Mars is a rougher, is more rough. It's like death. It's red. I don't know, bad. Okay, Jupiter is Rahamim more. It's much more Rahamim. Okay, but Mars is more Deen. Scary stuff.
Actually, some people today who don't.
Yeah. No, which one?
They don't make you do during the 7th hour.
Yeah?
Chabadnikim don't make.
Chabad, they don't, yeah.
They don't make.
They don't make-
They don't make you do on Friday night when it's the 7th hour.
The 7th hour? That's what is that's I'm sleeping already. What are you talking
No,
about?
that's 6 o'clock.
But from 6 to 7, they won't make.
They won't make it. They won't kill us.
Because what? Because it's a situation of Deen. Right? So again, so if it would have happened 1 second before the next shift, then it wouldn't be such a great miracle. Why? Because it wouldn't be so amazing that Bnei Yisrael got saved. Because the Mitzrayim died, because it makes sense. Sheikol Mitzrayim afa pi shekochav haya tov. Ve'in hachinami sheYisrael lo haya lahem zechut ligael. Right? And that we didn't have the zechut to be saved. Ela biyot oto rega, just because at that moment was the kochav tov, and that's why we were saved. If it would have happened a second before Hatzot, remember that we want to understand why is this Hatzot such an important detail? It's such an important detail. Why? Because if it would have happened 1 second before, the constellation or the planet, whichever way you want to call it, is Jupiter, which is more Hamim. And the Egyptians and the world would have assumed that the reason why they were saved was just because that's the time of Rahamim, the Mazel. They got saved from the Mazal. Not because Hashem deemed it so.
But what about the Makat they got during that?
So
time?
good, no, agreed. But Bnei Yisrael didn't get saved because look, the fact that you're gonna have this mashchit coming in and wiping out as much as he can, and then you're able to dance between the raindrops, that's a miracle. But if you're gonna say that the reason why I was able to be saved was because of nature, it's not such a miracle. A miracle, it means defying nature. That's the definition of a miracle. I mean, why else you can say it's a miracle? Why is a miracle so important? Because it happens when you need it. That's why it's a miracle. There's miracles every day. Hashem defies nature all the time.
We're only looking at why the Jews were saved.
If it would have happened 1 second
We
before,
don't care about the Egyptians being killed.
no, we're happy. No, we're good. No, it's fine. It's
The
good.
focus is more on they'll say that the Jews were saved not because of Hashem,
Right.
Because of the
Right. But the same thing the other way. Agreed. The mazal. But the same thing the other way. If it happens 1 second after, right, Hatzot, which who you got? You got Mars. Mars is more Deen. The fact that the Egyptian died,
They'll say,
it's part of nature. It had a plague, Corona, whatever. It is what it is. That's what they're going to say. So it's not going to be so great. Look, if it happened right after, which already starts the time of Mars, right, that the death of the Mitzrayim weren't such a great thing. Because the Kochav is Ra, that makes sense. About Hatzalah Israel also would have been a great miracle, and that would have been the best part of the miracle. Okay, that Bnei Yisrael were saved from nature.
In other words, the Ness is not complete, or before Chatzot or after Chatzot.
Right. So you have to say, so you're going to say that Bnei Yisrael had zechut, right, and that's the reason why they were saved. But it's not. But it doesn't tell you. It doesn't answer why the Mitzrayim died. You got to make. By the way, this class is an refuah shlema for a lot of people. A lot of things, but my grandmother, Mazal Bat Rahel, is zechut Zera Shimshon. She should have a refuah shlema and speedy recovery.
Amen.
Okay, now listen. Again, if we would have been before, if we would have said before that it would have been before, right? Then yeah, you're right. It would have been such a great. It would have been great that the Mitzvim died, which is great, but it's not such a big deal that Bnei Israel got saved because it was under the Mazal. It made sense. Okay, they didn't have to, it was fine. If it was after Hatzot and making it now where it's all Deen and the Mitzvim died, remember it's the opposite. We're more concerned now if it's after. The fact that the Mitzvim died after is not such a big deal, and the fact that Bnei Israel were saved before is not such a big deal because you're gonna attribute it to nature. Yes.
If they would have died, if the plague would have come on before midnight, when Jupiter is is a positive influence,
Right.
wouldn't that have been even a bigger miracle? Because if it's a positive influence and they're still dying,
But what about Bnei Israel being saved? They're not going to attribute the fact that we got saved as a miracle. It was. They're going to say it's because of the mercy. They're going to say that. You understand what you're saying is correct. They're going to say that the fact that the Egyptians died during the nice time of night, call it, right? Then you're right. But it's not going to. But you cannot. Then you won't attribute the fact that we were saved during that same exact time. And that's not good. That's the nes. The nes was that no matter what happened, no matter what time, they were going to die and we were going to be saved. That's the key to show that Davka in the middle of the changing of the gods, it's got to be there somewhere, right? So the kavanah, the intention of God about kavanat Hakadosh Baruch Hu, hayta le'akot hamitzrim beoto harega mamash shel hatzi laila. His purpose was specifically to knock them.
So there's nothing from no
Sad.
There's
No
no
sad.
stars.
Leave me alone. I'm on my own. I did it myself.
So then why just say kichet siyalayla?
He said it because he didn't want the what's it called? If he would have said, because if they would have interpreted, astrologers would have said no, it's really 1 minute earlier, 1 minute later. Then they're going to neglect half the miracle, one way or the other. They're either going to say that Bnei Israel was saved because of the Mazal, or that the Mitzrayim were killed because of the Mazal, depending on whatever they decide is Hatzot. Yeah, now, by the way, people, you have, even in my app, I don't get the right one. I put Acham Vadia as the thing. It's still 5 minutes early. We're still shitot of how we attribute what is Hatzot Lala today. We don't know when Hatzot. You understand? You go by your Netzvina is different than my Netzvina. He's right.
Is to be able to refute to disable the astronomers from being able to say, oh, it's this half or that half.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yes.
now what if these astrologers were incorrect in their calculation of what Chatzot was exactly, whether it was exactly Chatzot or not Chatzot, it was before, according to Hashem's calculation, all right? They're going to say, oh, look, this is happening before Chatzot, because that's what they're thinking.
That's right. So look.
Okay,
so
so then that the
the
miracle.
astrologers, if I had to guess, it's a good question. If I had to guess,
They were like the best ever.
they were the best.
And
They were the best.
the
Sure.
pyramids are built like.
They're still there. Well, who do you think built them? Hello.
They're all true north. They're all built on like lines with the summer solstice. It's all.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Like, they were
But I guarantee you that even the astrologers were going yes and no. Once I bet you it's 12:02, it's 12:03, it's 11:59. Right. That's what I'm saying. Right. So Moshe didn't want to say exactly midnight because my exact midnight might not be yours, but might be his, but not not be his. Then you're gonna start a whole cause drama and commotion. Moshe Rabbeinu is looking to avoid that. He wants to. What's the miracle? It's a double miracle. The double miracle is that the Goyim died, the Mitzrayim died. Everyone's house had somebody crying, dead. Okay, and our house, we were having fun. We were eating. Like, that's the miracle, that we were saved and that they were killed. So and make sure that you and why? To show that Davka Hatzia Laila on midnight, exactly to show I don't need help. I am God. I did it myself. I don't need you. I don't need but I don't need nobody. By the way, when Moshe Rabbeinu says the Midrash, when Abraham Avinu says, God, I looked at the stars. I'm not destined for children. So what does Hashem say? Leave the star. If I need to move this planet over there, put down over there for you to have kids, I'll do it. That's not your problem. You worry about you, let me worry about me. It's very funny if you read it. He's like, what do you care? He goes, I'll do it. It's my problem. It's not your problem. I'll deal with it. No, that's exactly the same thing over here. Hashem saying, I am God. I'm the one that's doing it. And that's specifically why. Now, if Moshe would have said, Bahatzia Laila, right? The astrologers would have made a mistake and said that Moshe is a liar. What do you mean a liar? We said one of the questions was, how are you going to think that Moshe is a liar? A liar that this is a double miracle. That's the lie. That this, oh no, Moshe is just trying to embellish the regular miracle and to say that no, there was even another miracle. Remember, why would one of the questions we asked, how is it possible the guys would assume that Moshe Rabbeinu was a liar? He's proven himself. He earned the stripes already, right?
He said he's a liar.
The astrologers would say, if Moshe said, if I say midnight exact, then these guys are going to say that I'm a liar. So one of the questions, what are you talking about? We know, everybody knows you. It says in the what's it called? That Moshe was like the most popular guy in Mitzrayim, right? The pasuk says, right? It says he was the man. He was the man, no doubt about it. Kiv Yachol, he was the top guy. So tell me that Moshe Rabbeinu, they would assume that he's a liar. So what does it mean that they're going to call him a liar? That if it would have happened earlier, or if it happened when they thought it was before midnight, then they're going to say, oh, you're saying that Bnei Israel were saved and the Mitzrayim were killed as two miracles. No. Relax. It was only one. Because it's all based on the planets. Because, okay, you want to have Din at night, so the Mitzrayim died very nice. That they're supposed to die. That's what happens. There's something, well, there's tsunamis. It happens all the time. What do you want? It happens. People die. It's unfortunate, but it's part of life. So they're going to assume that Moshe Rabbeinu was trying to piggyback off the regular miracle that happened, depending on which way they look at it, and is going to assume that the other part, whether Bnei Israel being saved or the Mitzrayim dying, it's a part of nature. So you understand? That's the key, based on the time. Jupiter or Mars. Jupiter, it makes sense Bnei Israel gets saved because it's time of Rahamim. If it's Mars, it makes sense that the Mitzrayim die. So you want to say that the other side of that coin is the miracle? No problem. But don't say the Mitzrayim dying at after Hatzot is a part of the miracle, because that it's not true. That could have been nature. That could have been something they ate. That's what it is. So that's the reason why that if he would have said Bahatzi at midnight, at the stroke of midnight, then the astrologers would make a mistake and say that Moshe is lying, right? Because what's the lie? That it's not a double miracle, right? Shehareh, why? Because he had the help of Jupiter or the help of Mars. Jupiter is the planet Jupiter. Every planet has stuff. I'm not so baki in it, but it's got stuff. No doubt about it. Yeah, it's kohot. 100% it's kohot. All right. But I always think about it. They say a lot of astronomers who went to space and came back became very religious. Became religious. I don't know. Maybe you could look that up. I don't know. But I didn't. But they said they became because they see something.
You're talking about astronauts.
Astronauts.
Yeah, you said astrologers.
Sorry, I was dyslexic. Let me tell you. Figure it out.
Paying attention to you.
No, good. You're right. Haha. So I always thought. Space. You go into space. All you hear, it's silent. It must be crazy to see something like that. To see another planet, a giant planet, it's so clear and crisp and whatever. But thank God we have the Torah Kedusha.
Hiding in the whole thing.
Not hiding, God forbid. Hashem, there's a reason why it's there. Hashem is sustaining it, minute over minute, second over second, day over day.
Well.
Yeah. And there's a reason. And we could go our whole lives and not know the reason, but there's a reason, and he kept it that way.
So what? He's hiding himself?
He's hiding himself. He's not hiding. No.
You said reason to what?
The reason why the planets exist. You want to hear? I'll tell you. I'll tell you quick, okay? I'll tell you quick. You want to hear a story? I'll tell you later.
No, come on.
All right, fine. So I just came back, right? My daughter also came in the middle of the trip. Listen, this is a great one. And Cheryl, okay, she came and we came home together. But so there was only one ticket left. She wanted to go see my grandmother. We had a bris. We had a couple of reasons why she wanted to come. I don't know how she got it pulled off, but she did it. Okay, fine. So now she comes, and now she's sitting. When I travel, I travel business because I have to. Because I get off the plane. I have 3 people in my house waiting to talk to me. Like I don't have time to really, rest. This one was a killer. So anyway, now I decide I'm going to sit with her. Because I don't want to sit alone, so I'm going to sit with her. But what did I do? So I sat in the seat. I sat in the seat, and I told her, you have to take musar. You have to take musar. She goes, why? I go, the guy's going to come right now, and he's gonna look at his ticket, and he's gonna see that someone's in his seat. And what's the first reaction he's gonna do? He's gonna huff and puff. Oh my God! Don't they look at their tickets? Don't these people look at their tickets? The guy has no idea that he's about to get upgraded. No clue. He's gonna take my seat all the way in the front. But just because I want this, but we assume the worst just because it just it's not going the way I want it, so it must be bad. We can't be that way. We have to know that there's more to the world than meets the eye. And if we saw even the rough stuff that happens, if we saw why, we'd be begging for more. Just FYI. Thank God we don't see it, so we don't ask for more. But I'm just saying we would be, because to know the value of why things happen to us, it's really the reason. All right, let's continue. So again, okay, right? Right. So now, by the way, here comes a bombshell. You ready for this? Even though that Moshe did say kahatzot alayla, not bahatzot on the day, he didn't change the word of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Why? It says in the Midrash, he bahatzot alayla. Right now, when the mashchit comes, right, the Malchamavet comes, it says the pasuk on midnight, at midnight. What does the Midrash say? He brings the pasuk in Yeshayatam, mekim devar avdo va'asat malachav yashlim, which means what? He confirms the word of his servant, and the wisdom, call it, right? Malachav yashlim, of his messengers he completes. What does that mean? Listen to what it says. He promised Abraham Avinu that he would be Goel, he would redeem Bnei Israel at midnight. When? It was crazy. Unbelievable. Abraham, huh? I'm sure he does.
No, he mentions that he says that when we talk about Chatzot, he says the exact same thing. He says this is referring back to when Abraham.
Because what does he tell him? He's chasing these 4 kings at midnight, and he says, "Okay, you stay. I'm going to take over because this zechut that you have. Why did Abraham do it?" I think the Rabbi Chaim says why, because Lot looked exactly like Abraham. And if the question is, Tom, how could Abraham rely on a miracle to go after 4 kings when he's him and 300 guys, or him and Eliezer, regardless of who is he to do that, to rely on a miracle? It's not nice. That's a shame. And the answer is what? Because Lot, his nephew, looked exactly like Abraham. And people are going to say, oh, we captured Abraham. Oh, and Abraham's God is not real, fake. It's so strong. So because of that reason, and that reason alone, Abraham Avinu goes to war. Al-Kidu is sick. It's crazy. During Yetziat Mitzrayim, Bahatzot Alayla, exact. And when did he stop chasing them? Hatzot alayla. Abraham stopped chasing the 4 kings at midnight. Unbelievable.
And he tells it now. The Torah says that the reason why he said Bachatzot is so he remember what happened last time there was a Chatzot. And the Torah says that Moshe was warning Paro. That basically saying is, don't mess with us. We already know. If you recall what happened, the big story that happened with Abraham, everyone knows that story. That's what the Torah story. That Abraham basically at Chatzot it stopped. Miracle happened. And he says, do you want that to happen to you too? Basically, that's basically what he's saying. It's like,
very cool. Very cool. So look, שהבטיח לאברהם לגאול את בניו בחצי הלילה, כמו שרדף אחרי המלאכים, לקדש שמו של מקום. Why? When he chased away the 4 kings in order to what? לקדש שמו, to be מקדש שם שמיים. That's when he did it. And that's what the Haggadah says. Gilita la'ezrahi. Who's the Ezrahi? Abraham. Abraham is called the Ezrahi. Why? Because Hashem told him, leave where you are. Where was he? Was in the eastern part of the world. So he told him, leave where you are. Lech lecha me'artzecha. So he's called the Ezrahi. Hatzot leil Pesach. Huh?
I think it's Gilita Ezrachai for my citizens. Unless he says Ezrahi there, and then he with the. It
says Ezrahi.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Hatzot leil Pesach. That what? Because why? Because it's crazy. By the way, it's unbelievable. When Moshe says, Ko amar Hashem kahatzot, what does it mean, kahatzot? It doesn't mean around midnight. It means just like midnight. Kahatzot, like the hatzot that happened by Abraham Avinu. Okay? Ko amar Hashem, this is what God said by the hatzot by Abraham Avinu. Not now. It's like when Yaakov bows down to Esav. He's not bowing down to Esav. He's bowing down to Shekhinah. He just thinks he is. So when Moshe is telling Paro and the astrologers that I'm coming after him, that he's coming for you around midnight, not saying around midnight. Kahatzot could also be read just like. So just like the midnight that Hashem told Abraham, and Abraham chased the 4 kings. To the second Hatzot Laila Mamash. right? Just like the Hatzot Laila that he promised to Abraham. V'chen peresh devarav leIsrael, right? Kedei shegam hem lo yitu b'devarav. And he also, v'chen peresh devarav, I think this Moshe also said this to Bnei Israel in order that they should also be in on it and know what's going on. Because the Zohar HaKadosh, right? The Zohar, because the Zohar has 3 questions that Bnei Israel could ask on Moshe. So this answers, and it's a little not lengthy, but it's a little whatever. I didn't get into it because I just landed. But again, that's what it's about. That's what it's saying that he told Bnei Israel what's going on. And it's not the Hatzot that you're thinking of. It's Hatzot. It was when Hashem told Abraham, 400 something years ago. The Hakadosh. By the way, the question is why did Hashem care so much to make it Hatzot? Why did Moshe care to make it so much Hatzot? Right? Why to teach you what? That the shenishlam haketz, that the end is closed, it's near, it's over. That even when Moshe, when Hashem was gozer galut, right, exile for his children by Beri ben Abitarim, that was I'm going to make a kids.
Hatzot Laila.
Hatzot Laila.
So the end of Hatzot.
Hatzot to Hatzot. Hatzot to Hatzot. You understand? When did Beri ben Abitarim happen? Hatzot Laila. And the minute he said it, that's when the subjugation started. That's when the exile started. That's when the book of subjugation opened.
That's when he said it.
When he said it, when Hashem said it. Right? It was also Hatzot Laila. Right? An exact moment that it started the She'ebud, it makes sense that the exact moment it should end. Hatzot Laila, it shouldn't add a little bit more. Right? And we're going to finish over here. But by the way, this concept of Nishlam HaKetz is a very hard pill to swallow for Mitzrayim. How long is it supposed to be? 400 years, 430 years, right? Machloket. Some say 400, some say 430. Okay? So, but it's hard. Why? Because we know that it didn't finish. Because Hashem took us out. We had Hazakah, 49th level. But really, if we were not on the 49th level of Tumah, Hashem would have kept us there until the 430 years finished, and then we would have been taken out. So we would all been like, older. That if he would have said the words at midnight, Hayu Torim, that the colleges would make a mistake and they would say that Moshe is a liar because it didn't end yet. So fine, Moshe had a good run, but right now we know that's not true. And what's proof? Right? The proof is that the Makkah did not come at Hatzot Laila, exactly Hatzot Laila. Remember, we said that the way it's gonna start is the way it's gonna end. Right? So Hashem did it specifically to show that it ended. Okay, what does Moshe say? Moshe doesn't want to say exactly midnight because he knows that there's some, footnotes there, and the Mitzvim will not understand it. Bal Yedaum Haleluka. They will never understand halachot. You tell a goy today, I work with them. They still think Friday night we go to sleep. They don't know. They go, all right, good night. It's 4:00. They don't get it. Because they're never gonna get it. Don't bother. It's just the way it is. What am I tell you? It's what it is. Okay, so now if you want to explain to them that really at the point at level tomorrow this and that, they're not going to get these things. So so Moshe didn't want to get involved and didn't want to get to a conversation. So he just said but the Makkah itself happened at Hatzot Laila, Umeshum Hachi, right? And therefore, Amalem Kahatzot around Hatzot, Shelo legalot lahem asot, to not give up the secret, right? That Kahatzot is specifically the Hatzot of old, of Moshe, of Abraham Avinu. Right? But Moshe had full intention of telling them that it was going to be done at Hatzot Laila Mamash. Right? And what's the Hatzot they talk about? The Hatzot of Abraham Avinu. Unbelievable. Okay? So let's go cut this one and we'll start another one. Let's go look at yes.
The point, what I understand is that there's this millisecond of Chatzot.
Changing of the guards.
And at this place, the Goyim, they don't know which Mazal is shining, which Kochav is shining, and therefore they have to say, "Whoa, it's something beyond."
No.
Because they can't you will never be able to attribute to a double miracle. You will never be able to attribute it to a double miracle of the Bnei Yisrael getting saved and the Mitzvim dying.
I'm saying, but then they see it's something that they don't know what did it, and they're like more or maybe going to believe that there is a God by the Jews that's hitting them.
Well, they knew that one was. They believed if the Egyptians died before Hatzot, they would have gone, but they would not have attributed Bnei Israel being saved from God. They would have said it's nature. They would have said Jupiter. That's why. I mean, and at the other side, if you look at the other side, you have the same problem because if it would have happened after, there's a big star in the sky. No matter where you are, and you see it'll point north. So no matter which direction you're at, it'll show you that's north. You know that's north. But I never knew it existed. I didn't even know what that meant.
Now it's gonna be.
It's the north. That's the direction of north.
You're gonna see it in the
They knew. You're talking about thing. By the way, you're talking about
That's Abraham as well.
for sure. But you have this. You could say the same thing on
Exactly, though?
Abraham. Yeah. Why not?
I'm not sure.
How do you know? You weren't there.
Exactly, maybe.
Oh, exactly.
Exactly, maybe.
You know why? I'll tell you why. I'm going to say yes. Abraham Avinu saw the world in the eyes of the Torah.
I'm not talking about Abraham. I'm talking
You
about.
said you asked Abraham. You
I'm
said
talking
Abraham.
about here, Mitzrayim.
That's the problem. Is that they did
No,
not.
exactly.
No, that's the purpose. That's the reason. If they knew the exact, that's the question. If they knew, just say at midnight. What are you saying around? Because they're not. Because if it doesn't happen at exact, their exact is
They
going to be
would
different
know
than Moshe.
exact.
They didn't know. They didn't
They would
know.
know exactly.
But they think they know.
I'm not sure.
I'm telling you, they think they know that by the way, go ask someone what time is nits. You're gonna get an answer. 6:15, 6:18. You're gonna get an answer because they believe it's
You
right.
just nailed it on the head.
Yes.
6:15, 6:18.
So that's the point. So the astrologers are gonna hold. Look, they're not exactly looking to cheer on Moshe.
Without a doubt.
They're gonna look for any small.
So
crevice
the
that they
idea
can.
is that Moshe Rabbeinu is being asked by Hashem to make the ultimate Kiddush Hashem. This is in front of all the world and all of history, and in the Torah Kadosh, so it has to be the ultimate Kiddush Hashem. So every detail matters. So it has to be. It can't if it's not exact.
Mordechai, look
according
at
to them,
Tedvav. Look at Tedvav, man.
they can't be allowed to have that taina. They
Tedvav,
can't
let's
be
do it.
allowed to have
I didn't
that
do the whole
judgment
thing.
on us. We have to go
Let's do Tedvav.
at this
Tedvav's a
time.
good
This is
one.
If they
ultimate.
see every firstborn dead,
Yeah.
that in itself is a
It's
miracle.
not true.
Why?
What's the miracle? That we were
And
saved.
then, no, that we were saved. What difference does it make if every
It's
Jew
so-
stays alive and every Egyptian, the firstborn, is dead? Well, they're gonna. Oh, wow. that's-
You know from your own life story that you've doubted. You find places to doubt when you want to find places to doubt. You don't look at the world impartially all the time.
Okay,
It's
so
not
then
possible.
they found it out. I'm sure that they could find it.
So
out
that's
with
why.
this
So
too.
they didn't find it out because he didn't say. But they didn't find it out with any other makot. They found it out with Dam Svadea Kinim, Dam Svadea. They tried, right? Once Kinim came, then the Hatumim said, "All right, it's by Elohimi." Okay, I get it because we don't control nothing. That's why they shaved their whole bodies. They didn't want anything because they didn't want anything small.
Holding on to this.
Yeah.
You said this, or?
It's midrash. They shaved their whole bodies. They didn't want any lice on them at all.
Because then it doesn't work, the kishuf.
Doesn't work. The kishuvim doesn't work. Rabbi Yochanan, by the time of the Gemara, the best Gemara ever. Okay, where he says the Bible is hysterical. He goes, there's witches. There was witches. Okay, and they lived in the forest and they were causing trouble. Rabbi Yochanan comes to them in the rain. In the rain, comes to them, and they're all like, oh, he's bad move, buddy, bad move coming here. And Rabbi Yochanan says, I'm coming to teach you. I'm coming to teach you kishuvim. So he goes, what do you know how to do? He goes, I'll prove it to you. I'm going to produce, it was 80 witches. I'm going to produce 80 young men that are dry, and you can do whatever them with what you will.
What does it dry mean?
Dry because it was raining. So they were all hiding under canvas.
Oh,
whatever.
because they can't do kishuf
They all-
when it's wet.
Right? No. I'll tell you. So they open. So they come up, and then all of a sudden they all these their eyes, and they grab them and they hold them up because the kishuf comes from the floor. So they lifted them up, so their feet are dangling now. They can't touch the floor. That was the source of their power, not the wet. The
Picked up
floor.
the witches.
Picked up, physically picked up.
The
Like
men
you hug
picked
your
up
kid,
the
you pick them
witches?
up. Picked up the witch. Each one, 80 guys, 80 witches. I says, it's hysterical, but it's awesome. Gemara. Rabbi Yochanan, the guy's a beast. The guy's awesome.
Rabbi Yochanan, he told the women.
Tell the women, I'm gonna show you. I'm here to teach you. And it's crazy. It's unbelievable. By the way, there's so many stories. So the Hachamim, the Tanaim were players. You don't even know. They were players. You have no idea. They were the best. The best. All right, let's go to Tedvav. I have a Gemara Pesachim. Okay, Tedvav. We're gonna go to Tedvav. Tav Resh Samech Aleph. Give me a little of that, please. Hook me up. All right.
That's on Torah 15. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob.
Tedvav 15. 15. It's towards like way the end. Thank you. So we have a Gimaran Pesachim. By the way, it's a great. These that last dapim of Pesachim are awesome because the last 3-4 pages are all like Agadah. But it's not just regular Agadah. It's saying what are 3 things God loves, 3 things God hates, 3 things people love, 3 the people. A guy, people hate when somebody gets divorced to a woman and then remarries her later because they're like, ugh, all that drama for nothing. You're like, all like, so many. It's great. Real Hochman. Well, yeah.
Is that a good one or a bad one?
That's a bad one.
But the truth is,
Because you divorced her and you ended up bringing her back. Like, we should never divorce in the first place.
Bad one?
That's bad. People don't like that.
You don't like that one?
but Dafka now,
not?
but if you said that to,
No,
to somebody,
because
they'd be
for
happy.
people
Like,
that-
oh, Baruch Hashem, they ended. At least they fixed it. They got
Fix it before you get divorced and cause all troubles. Don't do it after. Do it before. Fix your marital problems before you kick her out of the house. What's the matter with you?
Didn't
It's a
make
shame
sense.
for the woman. It's a big shame for the woman.
What if she kicks him out of the house?
Well, he's got some issues.
I'm sorry,
Move right along. All right, so right. All right, let's go, boys. Gemaran Pesachim. Darash Rava. Rava says, Daloti beli Yoshia. Pasuk Tehillim. I'm poor and you saved me. Amra
in
Knesset.
Hallel. We do this in Hallel.
Yes, right. Amra Knesset Lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bnei Yisrael tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Alpha P. Even though I am poor because I have no mitzvot, I'm still worthy of being saved. You should still save me, right? It's a great line, no?
We try.
Right? Lina Elioshi, you should still save me. Like, don't kill me. Even though I got nothing, no zechut, you put me down, you made the whole world for me to make zechut, all that, great. And I didn't do nothing, but really I'm worthy of, don't kill me yet. I'm still worthy. What is Ad Kalisho? That's the Gemara. There's nothing else in the Gemara. Kashe. Mahu lashon dala ani mina mitzvot. What is this that I'm poor from all the mitzvot? Ve'ech nikshar ze im tehilat pasuk. And has this connected to the beginning of the pasuk? Shomer petayim Hashem. That Hashem protects the simple people. Hashem protects the simple people. Even though I have no mitzvot, I'm worthy of being saved. It's not Lego. You know, it didn't fit so well, right? The next question. Lama li na'el leoshia. Why am I so worthy of being saved? If you want to say that it's because the goyim also don't have mitzvot like I do, it's even worse because the umot were not commanded to do any mitzvah and you were, so you messed up. they ate non-kosher. Okay, they're allowed to eat non-kosher. I'm not allowed to eat non-kosher, and you ate. So like, why? That's not good. So how does that help you? You shouldn't be bragging, right? Right? Why tell me that it's pleasant for me to be saved? It's not a good strategy to tell God, save me, even though I'm worthless. Save me. Don't kill me yet. We have a midrash Yakut Shimoni in Parashat Nitro. This is unbelievable. It says, honor your mother and your father. Right? This is what the Yakut Shimoni says. Pasuk says in Mishleh, Ora Hayim pen tefales. Ora Hayim is the way of life, lest you what? What does tefales mean? Huh?
Pilis
To weigh?
To weigh, don't,
Make it straight. When the kablanim they make a wall, they do pilis to be straight, perfect.
Very good. Okay, so again, Ora Hayim pen tefales. Amar Rabbi Abba bar Kana. You should not sit. What does that mean? This pasuk in Mishlei Tam, that you should not sit and start weighing the importance of each mitzvot in the Torah. Because the guy's going to start looking at the mitzvot and say, oh, this one's worth more than the other one. I'm going to do this one, and I ain't going to do the other ones. Right? Lama anu na'u. Sorry, na'u ma'gelotea. Right? What does that mean?
Right. The rest of the pasuk says, "No means you shall not. You shouldn't know. You should know what the. In other words, the path always moves. You're going to try to say. You're going to try to balance your life like based on what's good and what's bad, right? Based on mitzvot. And you're saying this mitzvah is worth more, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to continue.
So it's the same concept. It's
he's saying is, but no, tell me. He's saying just keep that moving. In other words, today.
No.
You're never going to know what that means.
Yeah.
Boeing
Boeing
737.
Oh man, less air. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I was looking at the window when I was playing, but I was like examining the window.
most inconsequential thing that you would think of, a bolt, a small bolt.
All your big problems start from small problems. I always say
Okay,
it.
so that's the smallest mitzvah. Oh, what's the stupid bolt? And look at the
whole
ramifications, the whole
The whole thing falls apart.
Exactly, from a stupid
Sick.
bolt.
It's crazy. So look, Taneh Rabbi Hayya. Rabbi Hayya teaches the Baraita. Mashal lemel shayelo pardes.
So what?
New rules of the planes is they're deciding United, for example, the CEO just said that it's dependent on, this whole equity thing and identity thing, the DII, whatever it's called. So
I wanted to pull that at the airport, but I said I'm not.
So they're gonna start like letting like the most ignorant, like crazy people start to fly planes in order to fulfill those requirements.
Regulations.
DEI.
Oh, great.
DEI.
So we're gonna start training it from now on. Tom, that's it. We're out.
Diversity, equality.
I'm going on a camel.
What is it?
Yeah.
So look, boys, let's
Who wants
focus.
to be on such a plane?
Have a certain amount of black people, certain amount of
Diversity. So stupidity is one of them now.
Stupidity.
They're adding in Arabic. It's called dib. Why dib? Because dib in Arabic means a bear. Bears are stupids. All right. So Tanai Rabbi Hayya. Rabbi Hayya teaches it's an example of a king that owns a garden. Okay, an orchard. Thank you. Better word. Orchard. It's correct. And he brings in workers, right? But he didn't explain to them, right, what he's going to get paid.
That whole thing. It's all the Islam plan to control the world.
Yep. And he doesn't. You're right. But my father's Tom and my father get real nice on that one. It's an example of a king that owns an orchard, and he brings in workers. Boys in the back, listen. All right, and he brings the workers in, and he doesn't tell them how much he's going to get paid for each plant that you do. He doesn't tell them. He just says work the whole thing. He doesn't tell them how much you're going to get on this side or on that side.
Tell my son the mashal.
I just told you. You didn't listen. Repeat it.
Huh?
We're saying it's an example of a king that has an orchard. Okay, I'm gonna get there. It's the theme of the derash. I got it. The question is, why are you telling me that just because I'm poor and I'm mitzvot, I'm worth saving? I'm not worth saving. So we explained, and if you want to say it's because the goyim don't have mitzvot, and neither do I have mitzvot, so you should save me anyway. It doesn't work because they don't have mitzvot because they're not commanded to do mitzvot, but I'm commanded and I didn't do. And the Midrash Yakut Shimon says what it says. It says go to the right way, right? Because God forbid you might mess up the whole thing. And what does that mean? It means one of the Tanaim explained that it's an example of a king that owns an orchard, and he doesn't tell the workers which one I'm going to give you more, what the price is for this one. All of them are the same. Okay? Because if he does tell him how much I'm going to give you if you handle, the vegetables on this side versus this side, right? Then what is he going to do? They're going to see everybody focused on one side, and the other side is going to dilapidated. And
אם המלך אמר על מנגו אני נותן $1,000, אז כולם ישתגלו רק את המנגוים.
Of course, fact. That's why it's true, right or wrong. You got to go to your customers. That's why I tell my account. Everyone tells their accounts, you're all the same. We care about you all the same. I don't care if you're big or small. Everybody wants to feel good. So these trees want to feel good. The king wants them to be done right. So if he tells them, Shilu Gila, they would do them. When he said melechet pardes, and what would you see? You would see the work in this orchard, half of it batel, meaning not taken care of, and half of it done. Half the lights in the room are done, and the other half, look in the back, right? There's no light. Why? Because I only paid a penny. Oh, I'm paying $1. So they put this one. They don't care about the penny, right? Same thing with the mitzvah, with the merit of the mitzvot.
Why?
Same thing with the sechad mitzvot. Nimset Torah miksat kayemet, that you would see that only part of the Torah will become fulfilled, and the other part of the Torah will not be fulfilled. And Hashem needs the entire Torah to be fulfilled. Yes, Yaakov.
Question.
Yes.
Excuse my ignorance, but how did they know?
Excuse mine.
How did they know the mitzvah? They weren't given the Torah.
No, I'm not talking that. No, we're talking now.
Oh, talking
No,
now.
we're not
There is
talking.
one mitzvah that we know the reward for.
Two.
Oh, I know one of them.
And also Shiloh Hakim.
What about honor your father and mother?
That is right.
Is honoring your mother and your father.
Yeah, that one I know.
And the other one is the shooting of the bird, of the mother bird.
Oh, chewing the bird.
But the problem with telling
100%.
What?
honoring your mother and your father.
I've seen it the other way. It's an absolute disaster.
I'm sure it is. But the problem with giving reasons is that people will attribute that it's the only reason. You understand? They will assume it is the only reason. Of course, there's many reasons. You talk about Torah, you talk about the intricacies of the Torah. If you open up the human brain, the nerve system, so if you see a guy that God forbid is mechaved, legit. If you think about Kibud Avayim and then the guy dies, you're gonna be like, oh, that's not real. You understand? And then people are like, this whole thing's fake. Yeah.
One more question.
Yes, sir.
They were at the 49th level, the lowest level.
We.
Is it possible that you've heard of the Stockholm syndrome, right?
Yeah.
Mordechai? A victim of a kidnapping. What you basically do is you kind of associate yourself with the kidnapper.
And you become one of them.
Yeah.
We didn't get punished for being on the 49th level. And that's very true, by the way. It's a very good point. When we were at Yam Suf, the Satan comes and tells the angel of the sea, how could you split for these guys? They did Avodah Zarah just like Mitzrayim did Avodah Zarah. So when he heard that, what? So he was about to collapse on us. And Hashem comes and calls the Satan, you stupid old man. All right? He's called Zaken Shoteh, I think, right?
Zaken Uksil.
Skill, right.
What's skill?
Yes,
You fool. Yes. You know, these guys they were all, we were subjugated. We didn't have free will. We didn't have anything to do. These guys have free will. You can't compare apple and it's not comparing apples to apples. It's apples and oranges. It's not fair. So now what is?
Can you tell my wife I'm not as stupid as she thinks?
Oh, mine next. Right now, the Bnei said we're telling Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Ata lo hodatani. You didn't tell us the Sakkal of the mitzvot. You didn't tell us to do this one or that one, right? In order that we should go and to be complete in front of you, right? Ve'efshar shani kiyamti otam mitzvot sheyesh letag mulam me'atz echad. You didn't want to tell me the Sakkal of the mitzvot because you don't want me to handpick, decide which one I want, which one I don't want. But now that you didn't tell me, and I wasn't able, you took that opportunity away. Maybe I would have done all. Maybe I would have did the small ones also, right? Now I'm called, right? I'm called poor with Sakkal mitzvot, right? Sheli na'el. So now it makes sense.
I only did the cheap mitzvot.
No, because you didn't tell me. You didn't tell me anything.
Because you
didn't tell me. If I would have known.
If I would have known, I would have done all of them, right? Or I would have done all of them. But because I didn't know any of them, so maybe because so I'm considered
when he
poor.
went to the ignorant individuals
Right? She says
to teach them.
Says
That's exactly what happened.
So this
makes
Read
sense.
again from Imken.
All right, Imken. If so, remember this concept of that if the king told the workers how much each tree would cost, then they're only going to handle one, and then the cheap ones they're not going to touch. Okay, right? The Imken. If so, or menet kenet the Bnei Yisrael telling Lifnei Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Ata lo hodatani Sakkal mitzvot. You didn't tell us the Sakkal mitzvot. Kedei she'elech bitmimut lepan. In order,
I'll be a good worker.
No.
Yeah.
You did. The reason why you didn't tell me
I'll be a loyal slave.
was in order.
I'll be a loyal servant.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me in order, so I should be tamim.
Yeah.
ואפשר שאני קיימתי אותם המצוות שיש לתגמולם מעט שכר.
Maybe I only did the mitzvahs that are the ones that are small paid.
So now, therefore, ואני נקרא דלה משכר המצוות. Meaning, I didn't focus on the ones. Look, if you have 3 cups that are hidden, and I don't know where the money is under which one, so I pick one. Okay, I got the secondary prize. I participated. I tried to think where it was, but so Bnei said we're saying. Right?
I did it from innocence.
Exactly.
And it could be I chose the cheaper mitzvot, but still you have to save me.
Exactly. That's what we're saying. Sheli na'el leoshia. Mehamat she'asitim bitmimut. I really did it. But I didn't go as high as you wanted me to go, but I participated every day. V'hachi dayek tehilat miglat. So Pasuk starts by saying, Shomer petayim Hashem. Right? That Hashem watches over the simple ones. Ho'il since shehem petayim b'di'at Sakkal mitzvot, because we're simple when it comes to knowing the Sakkal mitzvot.
It's a bit heavy, this Torah, this one.
Oh, stop! We'll grow up.
He's
What's the
saying
matter?
he's saying some of the mitzvot are are much, much cheaper than the other ones. Ad kedei kach that we're called petayim if we only did them.
No. Wait, say it again. No, I don't think you got that right.
No, he's saying is that
No,
Hashem gives us. So Meir Patayim Hashem is saying is that the people who are simple-minded, meaning the people that we don't know the schar of the mitzvot. So we're doing all the mitzvot we're doing are based on our simple-minded.
Right. Look, we do what we think is right.
We do what we think is right. We may be doing all of them wrong, but we're trying. We're getting the credit for trying.
He's saying basically the Zera Shimshon that there is mitzvot that are much more valuable.
Pirkei says it. Hello, Pirkei says it. Pirkei says, I'm sorry. Pirkei says, right?
Don't balance. Yeah,
Right. You don't know the Sakkal of what? You don't know. By the way, it says
And opening a door for an individual doing a kind gesture could be greater reward
they have
than
no idea.
than
They have no
anything.
idea. It's
Yeah.
you know, I believe.
No idea.
We have no idea.
Yeah.
What I
So
believe
that's
the reason.
positive.
What I believe the reason is why. The reason why I believe the reason you don't know
This is the mashal
because
you
it's no, but that's the reason why he didn't tell us. But the reason why I believe, one of the reasons I believe is why. Why didn't he tell us? Because if I do something and tell him something, the reward could be very different. If somebody does something with his total heart versus someone who does it just because that's the way I grew up, I'm not going to get the same sachar. I'm sorry. Rahamana libe ba'eh. Hashem wants your heart. What? Not of course, but.
No, when you do tefillah, okay, and you don't get all the words right, but you have it in your heart that.
So look, Sefer Hasidim. There's a story. Okay, it was written about 1,000 years ago, 1,200 years ago. Sefer Hasidim. He says that there was a rabbi that was a Hasid Ahad, he calls him. He walks and he sees a shepherd, right? And he sees the shepherd, and they start talking. And he asks him, "How do you pray?" And he tells him, "I pray. I say." So this is his prayer. You ready? The Sefer Hasidim writes down what the shepherd's prayer is. The shepherd's prayer is as follows. He goes, God, I'm a shepherd. People pay me to watch their sheep. I don't have any. He says, if you have any flocks that you would ever ask me to watch over, I wouldn't charge you because I love you. Legit. That's great. No, Abu was so cute. But it was from the heart. Now the Hasid comes to him. Turn the light on in the back, please. The light shut off. Yes, sorry. The other side.
That's a much bigger reward.
I mean,
What?
Huh?
Much bigger reward than turning it on in the front.
Well, that was only a penny. That's what shut off. So he tells. So now the Hasid says, "Let me help you. Let me teach you." He teaches him Aleph Bet. He teaches him Shema. He teaches him Amidah. Very nice. Make sure he remembers. Okay, goes along his way. Following day, the guy forgot everything. Now he's saying nothing. Now the shepherd is saying zero. Okay. And now a malach comes to this Hasid. He's a Hasid. He comes to him and he tells him, he goes, what did you do? He goes, God wants you to go back to him and tell the shepherd, forget everything you taught him and tell him, go back to what you're doing. Because God loved it so much. Why? Because from the heart. Because it's emet. So that's why I believe, why you can't know. Look, there's a Gemara in Avodah Zarah that I live by. I heard this from Rabbi Eli Mansour. Okay? There's a Gemara in Avodah Zarah, Yud Tet. Okay? I don't know if it's a bet or I think it's Amud Bet on the bottom. Okay? Rabbi Chaim ben Teradion, one of the 10 rabbis that got killed, murdered, right? Yes, I know, but it's like in English, right? 10 Harugei Malchut. He tells him, he goes to visit his rabbi, Rabbi Yossi, and he tells the Rabbi Yossi that hi Rabbi, how you doing? He goes, I heard that you're going that you're teaching Torah in public, and the Romans are they're going to kill you. They're cracking down. They're putting speed cameras everywhere. They're going to get you. It's going to happen.
Brothers watching,
right? And what does he say? And he says, so he said, what am I going to do? The Torah should protect me. What does the Rabbi Yossi answer? Rabbi Yossi answers, I'm telling you about Tachlis, and you're talking to me about things in the sky, in Shamayim. That's his answer. Mefurash in the Gemara. Sick. No, it's legit. It's crazy. But then he answers, it goes on. Listen, 1 second. It goes on.
What's so scary about that? I don't understand.
He's saying, it's very interesting, but because what's the next question? The next thing out of his mouth, the student's mouth, is, am I considered a ben or olam haba? And Rabbi Yossi answers him, I don't know. What have you done? That's what he asked. And he says, well, one time I had the Matanot Levionim in one pocket on Purim, and I had my money in the other pocket, and I don't remember which one was which, so I gave it all. to Matorah Levionim. Rabbi Yossi answers him, I hope my portion is going to be like your portion.
Just from that.
That's the story.
Fantastic.
Okay, but did he not just hear that he's teaching Torah in public, thousands of people, risking his life, and he's not even acknowledging it. And Rabbi Yossi doesn't acknowledge it, and Rabbi Chaim Kanievski doesn't say, oh, but by the way, have you not heard what I just said? You said it yourself. I'm teaching it. That's not enough. Ben Olam Haba, it's not good enough. No, you talk about one random thing that nobody knows about Tampurim. What are you talking about? Where does it come from? It makes no sense. You know, this, I think I saw in the news quickly on Yeshiva World News. I really don't watch the news, and even Yeshiva World News, I'm like, I can't watch it anymore because I don't like news. I really don't like news. But I have to know news, so I have to watch it a little bit. Anyway, it was the 15th year anniversary of that flight that landed in the Hudson River.
Yeah.
Was that true? Was it?
Yeah,
It said 15th year anniversary, and it showed the Hudson. I assumed it was that. If you booked your ticket on that flight,
Soulburger?
yes, Scully.
Scully.
Yeah.
Scully.
Skullburger.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah. Whatever.
I know, I like the movie.
Tom Hanks.
Go.
Hasid Scully. He's like,
I never got into Hollywood. You know?
So listen. So now they interviewed him. Now what happened? One of the guys that when they said it was frigid, it was cold, and they had the air boats, and one guy fell off and fell in the water and didn't know how to swim, and one of the guys that was in the boat jumped in the water and saved him, and they asked him. He goes, what was going through your head? He goes, I really nothing. I just acted. I just, which is beautiful and it's amazing. But when you booked your ticket, you would have had a line that said, "There's going to be someone that's going to be jumping in the thing. You know, are you willing to jump in the freezing cold water in your clothes with your money and your cell phone in your pocket to save this guy?" I don't know if he would have. I don't know if everybody would. You understand what I mean? Meaning when all of a sudden they have a safek in your head, should I? That's great, and these guys are going to get, God willing, a lot of sakat for it. But that's not ben. You want to be a ben? You want to acquire? You want it to be yours, really yours? Then you have to do something like giving matanot le'evunim by accident, just because I didn't want. Just for the intentions are so pure. So when one person does one thing and the other guy does another thing,
He saved his life.
agreed. No, the guy's awesome. The guy's great. Don't get me wrong. But to be a ben olam haba, it's when the cameras are not on you. Moishi, it's when you're alone and you just. I know what the right thing to do is, and I just do it because I want to. Hashem created you one way, and He created you in order to change who you are. You have good and you have bad. All the bad that's in you, your obligation, my obligation, is to completely change it and to make it into good. My wife today asked me, she goes, so I haven't been home in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Literally,
Yeah,
3
long
weeks.
time. What happened
It
to
was
you?
rough. It was a rough trip. I don't talk about it. It was a rough trip. So he tells, so like I'm she goes, so no, she goes, you saw that one, right? Kama shaot, and then you see like the mop getting thrown at him, and the thing goes, forget, I'm going back to the hamal. So he goes, so she goes, you take me out for lunch, right? So I laugh. I go, yes, we're going for lunch. I know that. Because you have to change your teva. Shalom bayit. Do it Hashem Shemayim. That's the way to do it. Not because I'm hungry, I want to eat. No. That's the essence of whatever. That's what it is. So if Hashem gives us, it's crazy. If Hashem gives us the understanding of the mitzvot, then it's going to blindside you completely. The whole thing goes back to Tov Avo.
I just read the story from my children last night. A woman comes to a Rebbe. I forgot his name, but they have the name. She says, "I need to have a prayer. I want to have children. What can I do?" She's like, "I'll tell you a story. My mother went to the Baal Shem Tov and asked for the same thing, and she said, like, what do you have? What do you have? Something, worth it. It's like, I have my, she was very poor, and she had, the fancy crocheted, they always had in Russia, like these fancy.
Oh, like the fur?
No, it's
Not
like
fur.
it's a shawl.
It's a shawl. She's a very poor family, but it's like, bring it to me. She goes home, brings it. The Rebbe puts it up on the wall. He's like, it'll be good. And I was born. So the woman's like, okay, I'll go home. I'll get. He's like, no, you heard the story already. It doesn't work like that. You can't know.
Once you know, right? Once you know, it doesn't work. Once you know, it doesn't work.
You can't do it with tmimus.
You won't be able to do it between mood.
This woman just gave her.
I'll tell you something. I have have a Gemara tutor, words, vocabulary. So then I find out that the answer to the question is on the bottom. 3 months later, I find out there's not a word that I didn't look down, right? Because it's there. So it's not the same anymore. It's just not. Once you know the answer, it's just a different world. It's just a different world. Let's continue. Okay, so again, this is what Shomer Petayim Hashem. Hashem protects the simple ones. Because why am I a simple one? I'm a simple one with knowing the Sakkal and Mitzvot, and I didn't know where to focus my attention. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu still protects us, even though we're simple and we're poor with the Mitzvot. Because we didn't know that opening the door, being nice, or I don't know, anything you want, right? Was a tzitzit. It says, how is it possible Moshe Rabbeinu was able to become Anav Mikol Adam? How is that possible? So there's a midrash that says that when he went up to Shamayim, they gave him the tour. They gave him the tour of Shamayim, and when a tour like this is this room, this is this room, right? All like they gave him the tour, okay? And when he goes, he sees this giant light, and he says, "What's this?" And the Malach said, "This is the essence of tzitzit." Tzitzit, what's tzitzit? What does that mean, tzitzit? Moshe Rabbeinu. And he explains what tzitzit. He goes, and where does it come from? It comes from a sheep, the wool of a sheep. He goes, wool of a sheep? The wool, that comes from a wool of a sheep?
What's a midrash?
Yeah. And he goes, and the Malach says, yeah. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, I get the secret sauce now. I get it. God takes the lowest of the low and he makes it into the highest of the high. He did it by Har Sinai. He did it by the Sinai. Right? He did it by the way, if you learn Hagigah, you learn Maaseh Merkava, when the silence, that's God, not the Rash Gadol. That's God's way. It must be. I must be the lowest of the low. And that's why I'm here. Moshe is saying about himself, I must be the lowest of the low. That's the only way, because just like the sheep, you get this giant order, this giant sachar of tzitzit. And this right? Why not a tree? Why not? Why not? That's I'm talking about Moshe Rabbeinu. You listening? That's all Moshe Rabbeinu. This is all Moshe. But that's the question. How can he stay so anav? The guy fought Melachim. He touched God's kisei kavod. What are you talking about? Anam Mikol Adam? You want to say he's anav? Fine. Mikol Adam. I know a couple of guys that probably feel more anav than most guys. Hey, you can tell me, right? But no, because he understood the essence. When you understand the essence of something, that's how you can learn. You have to know the essence. But Hashem didn't want to give us the essence and the mitzvot, the sachar and the mitzvot, because now we can only focus on one. Hashem wants us to go this way. But we have by doing that, it gives us something to say. We can't handle because you want to tell us, we didn't know where to go. We didn't know where to go. We didn't have direction. You want to do the whole Torah? Great. We already know that not everyone can do all the Torah all the time. If I'm not a Kohen, off the bat, I'm not completing the whole Torah. Right? But you need to know. Okay. So that's the reason. That's the explanation. Another answer. It says in Akut Shemoni on the pasuk, Noraot besedek ta'anenu. Okay, Kol ha'noraot she'asita imanu ba'olam hazeh b'shvil ha'yisurin she'ata mevi aleinu ba'olam hazeh. All the amazing things that Hashem does for us in this world is only because of all the yisurim, all the hardship that Hashem does to us in olam hazeh. Yes, you read it right. Olam hazeh, olam hazeh. Yes. All the good stuff, all the noraot that Hashem does for us in this world is because of the yisurim that He brings on us during this world. Ad kal shona.
The English says He comes to compensate for the suffering.
Compensate, yeah. Right. All the headache that He gives us, that He causes us, the noraot, all the amazing stuff He does as a compensation for all the rough stuff. All in this world. We didn't talk olam haba. You with me? Ne'amra Knesset Yisrael, even though Bnei Yisrael coming and saying, even though I'm poor, right, with the Sakkal mitzvot, it's still good to save me. Why? Because you already gave me galut. We also see in Shabbat Pechet Amud Bet, the guys that are embarrassed, they made fun of, but they don't retort, they don't go back. They don't make fun of somebody back. Shomim herpatam, Hashem listens to them. And the ones that are samech with the Yisurim, the pasuk says on them, ve'ohavav ketzet hashemesh bigvurato. That the loved ones are like the sun going out with his gevurah. And this, huh?
No, this nebuch that you You embarrass him, and he likes his Yasurim, and he's quiet, doesn't answer you back. He's like the sun. Hashem loves him,
Right.
and he's like the light of the sun, and it's
Amazing,
power.
amazing. But what does the sun have to do with anything?
What do you mean?
What does the sun have to
It's a
do with anything?
mashal. It's a mashal.
Okay.
He says
Let's-
the ones that have been suffering is deserving of salvation from the dark exile. Or he's compared, right, exactly, because during the dark days when he's being suffering, he's not saying anything.
No, that's fine. But why Yetziat Hashemesh? What does Yetziat
Oh,
Hashemesh
it's
go
showing-
in?
The sun is a huge thing. The light of the sun is huge,
I'm
right?
saying Zera Shimshon's questions, not mine.
The sun is a huge light, right?
No,
You
he's
agree?
not, right. No, he's saying is the Zera Shimshon is asking the question, what's the on the Shemesh to this thing? In other words, why make the two, what's the comparison between the two?
Don't worry, I know the answer.
I don't know the answer. I'm just I could say that Hashem
Let's
loves
see what
him.
Zera says. I
and
hear
his
you.
reward's going to be as big as the light of the sun.
Let's see. ויש לומר, שמי שהוא נעלב ונבזה מבני אדם, the guy that's made fun of, and is נבזה is not despised. No, נבזה is disgraced. Fine, disgraced. והוא אינו עולה ואינו מבזה, but he does not do the same thing to other people. Okay? הוא חושב בליבו, he thinks in his heart, איך
But that's also not good.
One
It's also
second.
not good that he's
One
waiting.
second. One second. הוא חושב בליבו, he thinks in his heart, איך ייתכן שהקדוש ברוך הוא לא יעשה דין בעולבו. That he thinks in his heart, how is it possible that Hashem's not going to do deen to the other guy, right? הואיל שהוא אלבו שלא כדין, because I'm getting embarrassed, that's not proper. Meaning I'm just getting made fun of. By the way, everyone remembers every time he got made fun of in high school. I don't know about you, but I remember every time. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure you all do too. It's just the way it is. I was talking to someone yesterday, I haven't spoken to them in 20 years, 25 years. And they said we should have a reunion. So I said, Hajj Dechilak, I said in Arabic. I said, no more reunions. We don't need more reunions. He goes, so they go, you're right. He goes, we don't need more, he goes, we don't need to remind ourselves of the trauma. I mean, we got new trauma to deal with. You'll get there. Okay, so now, so he thinks in his heart, how is it possible that Kadosh Baruch Hu is not going to make deen with the one that made fun of me, right, or embarrassed me? Because the embarrassment was Shelo Kedin. It's similar to what it says in the Midrash on the Pasuk, Ketz kol basar ba lefanai. Merov ashukim yaz. Another Pasuk. In Yov. Ketz kol basar ba lefanai. Right? At the end, right? Everyone's going to come in front of God. I mean, everyone's going to have their day. Merov ashukim yaziku. From the majority of ashukim. What is
The wicked cause many victims to scream. They will cry out because of many strong.
I mean, that day's also going to come. The day's also going to come. Elu ane eshakim yeshaveu mizeroa rabim. Elu oshkim. Elu rabim al elu bechimus mamon. Ve'elu rabim al elu bechimus devarim. Okay, so he's explaining that we know that everyone gets their day. We actually know that Havetz Chaim saw a landlord, okay, was trying to kick out a widow with her children, and one day he removed the roof because it was so hard that he couldn't get her out, and she had no money to pay. So the landlord removed the roof.
Why couldn't she get out?
She didn't pay. She had no money. She had no money. A widow. The landlord, she's renting. So the landlord removed the roof.
Oh,
Balabai,
she couldn't pay
Balabai.
rent. She took off the roof.
So the Havetz Chaim writes, the Havetz Chaim says, I wait. He goes,
they don't do that. They don't break their house
he
down.
goes, I waited 25 years to see this guy bury his child.
Wow.
He goes, I waited 25 years for this guy to get repaid from God for what he did. He removed the roof
Because the lady couldn't
of
pay.
of a widow with children because he didn't get the rent. And the Havetz Chaim saw that it was in his town, in Rodin.
Wow.
And when he saw it, he said, okay, the guy's going to get smited tomorrow. The guy's going to get hit by a car 14 times. 20, he told me, he said, right, he told me. He wrote, 25 years I waited, and I saw him bury his own son. Woo! 25 years.
Wow.
Meaning, what's the Pesukim showing? That everyone gets their day.
Wow.
Everyone gets their day. That's why the Pasuk says, right, that the loved ones are like the sunset of my Gevurah. Like it says in Avodah Zarah, Sha'alu et zekenim beromi. They asked, the Romans asked the zekenim in Rome, the rabbis, Im en rotzano ba'avodah zarah. This is hysterical. This is hysterical. If Hashem doesn't want avodah zarah, why does he just mevatel the avodah zarah? Get rid of avodah zarah altogether. And what do they answer? He goes, so he doesn't say it here. So he says, well, people also worship the sun, the moon, and the stars. Should he abolish those too? Because people worship them? I mean, it's stupid. Like, what do you want? God creates the world the way He creates it. If the geniuses, the shotim, the stupid ones, if they're the ones that are going to mess up the world, they're going to have to pay for it. God's not going to remove the sun because people worship the sun. It makes no sense. It's a great answer, no? If Hashem created, if Hashem doesn't want people doing avodah zarah in the world, why would He create avodah zarah? That's the question of the Romans, the philosophizers. That's the Tanaim, the rabbis. And the rabbi says, okay, well, people also worship the sun, the moon, and the stars. Should Hashem abolish those too? Like, according to your logic, nothing's left. We have nothing.
You could say that about the media now and about the government. Look, apicursus and atheists in the world. But no, that's Hashem's giving us bechira.
So that's exactly what he says in the Gemara. It says, Ela ha'olam kimin hago noheg. The way of the world is the way of the world is going to act. V'shotim. Avkan eno rotze la'abedam b'shvil shekil kulo. Even here also, Hashem doesn't want to destroy things just because that they messed it up. Ela sof, at the end, He's going to pay them for what they did. That's what the guy that's getting made fun of all the time and doesn't open his mouth. That's what he's thinking. He's waiting for the day that this guy gets paid back. Why? Because it's similar to what the Romans asked the rabbis. If Hashem didn't want avodah zarah, let Him get rid of it. So people also worship the sun, the moon, and the stars. Get rid of those too. Which means what? It doesn't work that way. So and the rabbis were telling Rome they're going to get theirs. It's going to happen. The guy that's getting made fun of is saying he's going to get that guy's going to get it. I trust in God to know that it's going to happen. I trust in God to know that Hashem's going to come after him, right? Which means what? Kitset Hashemesh, Shemin Adin Lo Lizroach, right? Because according to the Din, it doesn't make sense that he should come out again.
Why? Why not?
The sun comes out every day, right? Min Adin, according to the Din, like according to pure justice, the sun doesn't have to come up every day. Why not? Because we didn't do it. We may not deserve it, right? But he's saying it's just like the sun comes out every day, right? Out of Hashem's
benevolence, yeah.
Hashem's chesed, He gives us the sun every day.
Yeah.
So he's saying if the person who gets insulted and doesn't respond, right, he's gonna have the strength of the sun. He's saying just like the sun comes out every day, so too that person.
This guy
who insults me, well, I'm not responding to.
Yeah.
I know the sun, just like the sun is. As soon there's the famous saying that says, as pure as the sun comes out, or something like that, right? Just as I know that the sun is going to come out tomorrow morning. Right? Me not insulting me, that person's going to get his day. His day's going to come too.
The guy has emunah that justice will be served.
Right.
That's the thing. So when a guy cuts you off, Hashem's writing it down. By the way, we're going to finish with this. I have a friend.
Why he ends saying Shemin Adin Lo Yarul Lizroach, and just like Shemin Adin, it wasn't supposed to come up again. Just like that, he's going to get the guy that insulted the other one.
Min Adin, because go ahead, Mordechai, you're up.
It says, but justly should refuse to shine because it used. And as an object,
Right. Because Zera doesn't write that. Right, I said it outside because he expects you to know it. He expects you to know.
The sun should have been destroyed because people bow down to
him. And even that, you want Hashem to destroy that also? So too, this guy.
That's exactly what the Makot. They worship the Nile. They worship that there's a God. And then it was like, you think this is a God? This is under my control.
Was supposed to destroy
the sun,
but
he didn't destroy it.
Yours
So just like that, he's gonna destroy.
So by the way, I'm gonna end with this story. I have a friend. I have a good friend. Listen, we're gonna end here. I have a good friend that he went in high school. He went to Ocean Township. Okay, it's the public school in Deal, New Jersey, and he was a scrawny kid. Okay. Pretty strong, by the way, but he's a strong kid. And there was this non-Jewish kid, okay, that was bullying him the whole high school. Okay, I think it was the last 2 years they went there. And what was he bullying him? He was making fun about Jews are fake, all that all that heavy stuff. And he told me that all I thought in my head, kids in public school, okay, said all I thought in my head is I can't wait for Mashiach to come. So this schmuck will know that Hashem is Emet.
Don't use the word.
What?
Don't use that word.
Why?
Because it means Ivar means you can't use
really?
it. Yeah, you can't use it.
No, sir, you're gonna have to edit the video.
Yiddish,
But I didn't know that. I don't speak Yiddish.
Yeah, Rav Meir Fulda, who was a linguist and an exceptionally holy man, told us a list of words that you can never use, and he said them out loud in shir. He was like, "You will never use the following words."
Oh my gosh,
Listen
no
to
way.
them. And that was one of them.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'll never say that word again. Really needed. So he said, so he said, I can't wait for this guy to get, I can't wait for this guy again. You're gonna have to edit the video, okay? Because I don't want to get emails, angry emails. Yes. I'm not a rabbi.
Sin to a person, not
Sin
to a man, not going on to the son. What did the son do that he should? And that's Torah. I don't want to take you off. But what did he do that if the father sinned?
What do you want from the guy? No, not the son outside. Not the son, the father. No, if you worship the son. Oh, okay. Very good question. Right, what did the son do? So look, again, we talked about the nerve system. The things. Moshe Rabbeinu asked the same question. Moshe Rabbeinu sees that what they used to do. The Midrash said they would take that when they couldn't fill the bricks, they put the head of a baby. They used to chop it. By the way, it happened 2 months ago. Okay, don't tell. No, I'm sorry. Don't say three. Okay, yeah, more than a little. Okay. So don't tell me that it's not possible. Okay, because it's possible. Same family too, by the way.
What about Eob?
One second. But he asked a good question. So Moshe Rabbeinu sees this and he tells Hashem, he says, "Save him. Don't." Hashem tells him, "I know. I have my ways. Trust me." And he tells him, "There's a baby. The guy's an infant. There's nothing. There's no possible way he could have done anything." So Hashem said, "Fine. I'm going to save him, but you're going to see this kid." No, worse. He started the Egel. His name was Micha. And he started the Egel. He was the one that ignited the fire for the Egel.
Grandson of Moshe.
That was last 2 weeks ago. There was a verse about that. One of the Zera Shimshon mentions.
Yeah.
Yeah. It mentions how can it be that Moshe's grandson was
Moshe's
like grandson, but he talks about that.
Gershon's son.
Yes. I
And it even changes in the Torah. It says Micha ben Gershon ben Menashe. It changes the name because
that's not the same Micha.
It is.
No. It's the grandson of that one was owned a bit of Zara.
Oh, fine, but that's not the same Micha that started the Egel. It was a different one. It was like 21 when it happened. It's crazy. Sick. We don't know the ways of God. That's what my point to say. I don't know. And you don't know, and nobody knows.
You know what? The best way to describe all of what you're talking about is the story of Eob. We have no idea. Even going to the conclusion of Eob, you still don't know what
There's a story in the Gemara, okay, in Ta'anit, okay, of Nahomish Gamzu. Nahomish Gamzu was Rabbi Akiva's teacher, okay. Rabbi Akiva was, when Moshe saw Rabbi Akiva and he showed him everything. He said, he should be the guy you should give him the Torah. Don't give me the Torah. This guy's much better than me. Only till he says, how do we know the halakha? He goes, Moshe Sinai. When Moshe heard that, he it's so nice. So that's how he felt. Legit. That's what the Gemara says. He goes he felt so much better. Anyway, when why did I say this? Oh, Nahomish Gamzu. He was walking on a donkey to the city, and a poor man says, "Parneseni, feed me. I'm going to die. I need to eat something." And he tells him, "Okay, when I get to the city."
No, he said, 1 minute, let me just take the packs off.
No, he did not. He said, let me get to the city. And then the guy died. The guy died in front of him. Nahomish Gamzu gets off the horse, donkey, whatever, and he puts his entire body on this man's entire body. And the Gemara Mefurash goes in black and white to say that my eyes that saw and did nothing should be taken. My hands that didn't go into my pocket. And that's exactly, and his feet, his leg, that's exactly, became blind. No hands, no feet. Yeah. They put him in a bed. It's insane. And they put him in a bed. They bring him back. No, he was alive when this happened.
No, he was alive. The dead person come back?
No, not one of those. No, dead. The guy died.
No, because he didn't help him.
Because he didn't help him with the zerizut that he should have. So now fast forward. His students come to visit him.
It's 1 minute.
His students come. Listen. It's 2 seconds. His students come to visit him and say, "How?" He goes. It's horrible that we have to see our rabbi this way. Someone so much Torah, so much bitachon, and we see you this way. They had to put pails of water on the bedpost so the bugs won't climb up. On the legs. Yeah, on the legs. And he says, I go, how can we see this way? He goes, has v'shalom, that you should not see me this way. Meaning, I want my punishment in this world, so I'm able to be zach v'naki in olam haba. You look,
But it's
you're on a
crazy
level
'cause he
like
didn't-
that.
but
By
it's
the way,
crazy 'cause
we're
he
on a
didn't-
level like that. Like we're like all the way over there. But we say kapara. My mother always told me kapara. Right? You lost something. This time, kapara. Okay, better this than something else. That's the way we. Okay, but it gets much higher. But inshallah, Bezat Hashem, nobody should have to have any worry about any kapara. 1 second. The zechut of Zera
Open the
Shimshon.
story before you end the thing in the Gemara, the story.
Which Gemara?
What you just said now.
I said it. The Chumash Gamzu.
Read it in the thing.
Want to read the Gemara?
If we know where it is.
Yeah.